Hello, my name is Veronica, and today I want to share something very close to my heart. I want to talk directly to the young boys and girls out there, those who are full of dreams, questions, and sometimes fears. When I was young, I often looked at the sky and wondered what my future would look like. Would I be successful? Would I be happy? Would I make my parents proud? At that time, I didn't have many answers, but now that I've walked through many storms and sunshine, I want to pass on what I've learned. Because the future is not something you wait for, it's something you build day by day, step by step, so let me take you on a little journey. I'll share with you the 3 most powerful lessons I've learned, advice I wish someone had given me when I was younger. Discover who you are before you decide what you want to become. When I was younger, around 13 or 14, I remember how every adult I met seemed obsessed with one question. So, what do you want to be when you grow up? I used to smile politely and say the answer I thought they wanted to hear. A doctor. Sometimes I said engineer. Sometimes even lawyer. But the truth was, I had no idea. Not even a little clue. The thing is, I didn't want to disappoint anyone. I thought adults had a clear picture of who they wanted me to be. I saw how my parents proudly mentioned my cousin James, who was studying medicine. How my aunt would beam while talking about her daughter who had just gotten into law school. I thought if I said I want to be a writer or I want to study art, people would laugh or worse, think I wasn't smart enough. So I hid my truth. And in hiding it, I slowly started forgetting it. The pressure to please at school, we were taught to aim high. But no one taught us how to figure out what we truly cared about. I was good at science, so teachers pushed me toward biology. My friends were talking about becoming engineers, so I thought maybe I should try that too. It felt like everyone was racing toward a future they were sure about, and I was the only one quietly lost. At night, I would lie in bed, staring at the ceiling thinking, is something wrong with me? Why can't I feel excited about any of these careers? But deep down, I knew what did excite me. I loved sitting by the window with a notebook and pen, scribbling down stories. I created characters, gave them voices, imagined their lives. I used to write long letters to imaginary friends. When I read novels, I didn't just enjoy them, I felt them. I cried with the characters. I lived inside their worlds. Yet I buried that side of me. Because I thought it wasn't useful. Because I thought dreams had to look a certain way, serious, traditional, and practical. The turning point then, one day, something changed. I was 15. Sitting in the school library during lunch break. I wasn't eating, I was too nervous. I had secretly written a short story for the school's writing competition. No one knew, not even my best friend. I was too afraid of being judged. The theme was finding yourself. I poured my heart into it. The story was about a girl who pretended to be someone else to make everyone around her happy. Until one day she looked into the mirror and didn't recognize herself. Sounds familiar, right? I submitted it anonymously. A week later, the results were announced. My story won second place. The teacher read a part of it aloud in class. And as she read the words, I felt tears well up in my eyes, not because I was proud, but because for the first time in a long time, I felt seen. After class, a girl from another grade came up to me and whispered, "That story, was it yours?" It made me cry. I feel like that girl too. That moment changed something inside me. I realized that what I had always loved, the thing I thought wasn't important, had the power to touch people's hearts. That night, I opened my diary and wrote, "Maybe I don't need to become someone else to succeed. Maybe I just need to become more of me." Why knowing yourself is the first step to the future. Too often, young boys and girls are asked, What do you want to become? Before they're ever asked, who are you? Let me tell you something that took me years to understand. You can't build a future that makes you happy if you don't understand what happiness means to you. And happiness doesn't look the same for everyone. Some people are born to be surgeons. Some people are born to teach. Some to dance, or code, or build businesses, or serve coffee with a smile that makes someone's day. There is no best path. There's only the path that's best for you. But how do you find that path? Let me give you a few things I wish someone had told me back then. Pay attention to what energizes you. Notice what gives you energy, not just what you're good at. You might be good at math but feel bored by it. You might struggle with drawing but feel alive when you do it. Energy is a powerful signal. For me, writing didn't always come easily, but I wanted to get better. I would stay up late researching how to improve. I didn't feel tired, I felt driven. That's the difference between talent and passion. And passion fuels your future. Explore before you choose. Don't trap yourself in one path too soon. Try new things, volunteer, intern, read different books, take free online courses. Talk to people in different careers. Not everything you try will lead to a dream, but it will teach you something about what you want or what you don't. I once thought I wanted to be a psychologist. I even joined a summer camp on behavioral science. It was fascinating, but I realized I didn't want to work with patients. I wanted to write about people's emotions. That experience brought me closer to my truth. Don't let other people's opinions become your roadmap. This one is hardest, especially when you want to make your family proud. But remember, the people who love you want you to succeed. Sometimes they just don't understand the new world you're growing up in. I had to sit down with my parents and explain that being a writer didn't mean being jobless. I showed them examples of journalists, novelists, content creators, screenwriters. It took time, but eventually, they began to see that I wasn't just writing stories. I was building a future. You must believe in your vision. Even when others don't see it yet. It's okay to change your mind. This is something I really want every young person to hear. You are allowed to change your mind. You might start down one path and realize it's not for you. That doesn't mean you failed, it means you learned. Life is not a straight line. It's full of turns, and detours, and surprises. Even now, I sometimes shift what I want to focus on. I explore new ideas. I follow curiosity like a compass. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to stay honest with yourself. Final reflection, looking back, I'm grateful that I didn't force myself to become someone I wasn't. I'm grateful for the small voice inside Mytho1. I tried to silence that, kept whispering, "This is who you are. Don't forget." And now, I want to say the same to you, dear young boy, dear young girl. Your future doesn't begin with a career choice, it begins with a journey inward. Know yourself. Listen to your heart. Don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to shine. Because once you know who you are, you will never be lost again. If you had met me at 16, you would have called me a dreamer. I had journals full of goals. I want to be a writer. I'll publish a novel by the time I'm 20. I'll build a blog and inspire people around the world. And I believed in all of them. With all my heart. But there was a problem, one I didn't understand back then. I was always talking about my dreams. But I wasn't living them. The illusion of dreaming. Every evening, I would sit with my tea, open my journal, and write something inspiring. Quotes, affirmations, sometimes a poem. It felt good. It felt productive. And then I would reward myself with an episode of a show. Or scroll endlessly through my phone. Or fall into a YouTube rabbit hole of how to be successful videos. One day, While watching yet another video titled Morning Habits of Millionaires, I paused and asked myself a strange but honest question. If someone filmed my daily routine and uploaded it online, would anyone believe I was serious about my dreams? The answer hurt me deeply, because the truth was I had big dreams, but my daily actions didn't reflect them. The trap of motivation without action. I want you to imagine this with me. You wake up one morning, full of motivation. You watched an inspiring video the night before. You feel ready to change your life. You write down 10 new goals. You promise yourself, from now on, everything will be different. But by day 3, you're tired. You're overwhelmed. Life happens. A friend calls. Your phone buzzes. You push your goals to tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. This cycle repeats over and over, and every time your self-belief takes a small hit, you start to think, maybe I'm just lazy. Maybe I'm not disciplined enough. Maybe I'm not meant to succeed. But here's what I learned, painfully and slowly. It's not about motivation. It's about structure. It's about habits. Success isn't built in grand, dramatic moments. It's built in small, boring, invisible choices you make every single day. The lesson from Nathan. Let me tell you a story about someone who changed how I see success forever. His name was Nathan. He was in my class in college, quiet, simple, never loud. Most people didn't even notice him. While others were partying, chasing popularity, and showing off, Nathan was in the corner of the library, headphones on, typing away. One day, I asked him, "What are you always working on?" He smiled and said, "Just a few projects. I'm learning how to code, building a website, trying to understand how online businesses work." At the time, I didn't think much of it. It looked boring. It wasn't glamorous. He wasn't making money. He didn't have thousands of followers. Fast forward 7 years. Nathan now runs to successful startups. He works remotely, travels the world, supports his family, and teaches others how to build online income. And guess what? He didn't get there by luck. He got there because he built habits while the rest of us built excuses. What Nathan taught me about building habits after reconnecting with him years later. I asked, "How did you stay so consistent? Didn't you ever feel lazy or distracted like the rest of us?" He said something I'll never forget. "I didn't wait to feel ready. I just built a system where showing up became easier than skipping." Let me break that down for you. He didn't rely on motivation. He relied on routines. He woke up every day and had a specific morning structure. 6 a.m. Wake up 6:30 a.m. to 20 minutes of reading, 7 o'clock a.m. minus 1 hour of project work, 8 a.m. exercise, and breakfast. No drama. No excuses. Just daily repetition. Even on days he felt tired, he still showed up. Even when results didn't come for months, he stayed steady. That's what separates people who talk about success from those who become it. My wake-up call after seeing Nathan's journey. I looked back at mine. I realized I had been writing stories only when I felt inspired. Some weeks I wrote a lot. Other weeks, nothing at all. My dream was floating, not growing. So I made a decision. No more random writing. No more waiting for the right mood. I would write every single morning, even if it was just 1 page. It was hard at first. I had to wake up earlier. I had to skip late-night scrolling. I had to fight laziness, procrastination, and self-doubt. But slowly, something amazing happened. Writing became easier. Ideas flowed faster. My confidence grew. I started finishing stories instead of just starting them. I submitted pieces to magazines. Some were rejected. Some were published. I built a website. People started reading my words. And one morning, I woke up to an email from a publisher. They wanted to turn one of my stories into a short book for teens. That day, I cried not because I was lucky, but because I had worked for it, every day, quietly, consistently. What you can do starting today. You're serious about your future. Stop focusing only on the big picture. Start focusing on your daily picture. Here are some steps you can take to build strong habits. Start small, ridiculously small. Want to start reading more? Don't say, I'll read one book every week. Say, I'll read 2 pages a day. That's it. Want to become fit? Don't plan a 1-hour workout. Start with 5 push-ups or 10 jumping jacks. Want to write? Don't aim for 5 chapters. Aim for 100 words. Consistency matters more than intensity. Once the habit is built, you can always grow it. Track your progress. I used a habit tracker on my wall. Every day I wrote, I put a small red X. After a week, I didn't want to break the chain. It became a game. Seeing your progress makes you proud. Pride creates momentum, and momentum fuels discipline. Build an environment that supports you. I removed distractions. I kept my phone in another room when I worked. I turned off social media notifications. I used background music to stay focused. Discipline is not about willpower, it's about designing your space to make good choices easy. Reward yourself. After writing 5 days in a row, I treated myself to a walk in the park or my favorite dessert. Rewards make habits fun. They train your brain to enjoy the process. Forgive yourself when you fail, but don't quit. There were days I missed. Days I felt like giving up. But I told myself, one bad day doesn't mean a bad life. I didn't throw away the habit. I just picked it back up the next day. That's how you build long-term success. Final thoughts. You don't need to be perfect, just present. Dear young boys and girls, everyone around you may seem like they have their lives together. They might talk confidently about their dreams, their plans, their passions. But the truth is, the real difference isn't who dreams more, it's who shows up more. The future doesn't reward perfection. The future rewards those who put in the work, even when no one's watching. So dream. Dream big, dream wildly. But then build habits that can carry those dreams into reality. Because 10 years from now, the most successful version of you won't be the one who dreamed the most. It will be the one who showed up every single day, even when it was hard. If I could go back in time and sit beside my younger self, 15-year-old Veronica, who often cried silently at night, hiding her fears behind a smile, there is one thing I would say to her. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be brave and kind to yourself first. This is something I wish every young boy and girl knew. When I felt like I wasn't enough, there was a time in my life when I measured my worth by achievements. If I got good grades, I felt proud. If I didn't, I felt like a failure. When I made people laugh, or when my writing was praised, I walked with confidence. But when I was ignored, rejected, or criticized, I shrank inside my own skin. I remember one particular incident that shaped me deeply. It was the first time I applied for a national writing contest. I had poured weeks of energy, heart, and hope into a short story about loss and healing. When I finally submitted it, I imagined the judges reading it with tears in their eyes. I imagined winning. I imagined my name in bold letters. I imagined applause. But the results came back, and I wasn't even shortlisted. Not second, not third, not even a mention. It crushed me. I thought maybe I wasn't talented after all. Maybe I had just fooled myself into believing I was special. Remember curling into my bed that night, my chest heavy with disappointment. I whispered to myself, maybe I should stop writing. Maybe I'm not good enough. The voice inside, but a few days later, something surprising happened. I received a message from a classmate. She wasn't someone I was close with. In fact, I hardly knew her, but she wrote, "Hey, I read the story you shared with our teacher last month. I just want to say, it stayed with me. I lost my dad last year, and your words made me cry in a good way. Thank you for writing it." I stared at her message for a long time. It felt like a whisper from the universe. You matter even when no one claps for you. That night, I wrote something in my journal that has stayed with me to this day. I don't write to be perfect. I write to be real. And that's enough. The world can be loud. Be gentle with yourself as you grow. You'll face moments that will shake your confidence. You'll see people on social media who seem happier, more successful, more beautiful, more talented. You'll compare your quiet life to their highlight reels. And you'll start to think, why am I not like them? Let me tell you something very important. You were never meant to be like them. You were meant to be you. And your journey will look different. It will have curves, dead ends, delays, but it will also have moments of beauty, magic, and growth. The world outside may not always be kind. That's why the world inside you must be. Learning to forgive myself. There were times I made mistakes, said things I didn't mean, procrastinated, missed opportunities, disappointed people. And every time, I punished myself. Why are you like this? You always ruin things. You'll never be enough. That voice inside my head wasn't kind. In fact, it was crueler than any critic I'd ever faced. But then one day, my mentor, a kind old writer named Miriam, told me something simple, yet life-changing. She said, "Veronica, you're talking to yourself like an enemy. Try speaking like a friend." That hit me like a wave. I would never say to my best friend the things I said to myself. From that day on, I began practicing not in a fake way, but in a gentle way. When I failed, I said, "It's okay, you're human. Learn and try again." When I felt insecure, I said, "You're growing. That's beautiful." When I felt lost, I said, "One step at a time. You'll find your way." It changed everything. The world needs brave souls, not perfect ones. Now let's talk about bravery or real bravery, not the loud, heroic kind we see in movies. I'm talking about the quiet kind, the daily kind. The bravery to speak up when you feel invisible. The bravery to say no when your heart says, it's not right. The bravery to start again after failure. The bravery to be yourself even when others laugh. When I was 19, I was invited to speak at a small writing event. It was my first public speaking experience. I was terrified. My hands shook. My voice cracked. I stumbled on a few words. Afterward, I felt humiliated. I told myself, "You're not cut out for this." But later, a young girl came up to me and said, "I loved your speech. You looked nervous, but you still did it." It gave me courage. That's when I realized bravery is not the absence of fear. It's doing the thing even with fear. Being different is your superpower. There was a time when I tried so hard to fit in. I changed the way I dressed. I laughed at jokes I didn't find funny. I agreed with opinions I didn't believe in, just so I wouldn't be the odd one out. But in trying to fit in, I lost the sparkle in my eyes. I became a shadow of myself. It took years and a lot of healing for me to finally say, I don't want to fit in anymore. I want to stand out as myself. Being different doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you have something unique to offer. Your ideas, your voice, your kindness, your truth. So don't shrink to please others. Don't dim your light because others are uncomfortable. Shine anyway. Speak anyway. Be bold anyway. The power of resilience. Let's talk about the word that changed my life. Resilience. Resilience means bouncing back. Not never falling, but rising again every time you fall. There were days when I felt invisible, days I cried into my pillow, days I doubted if my dreams were even worth chasing. But I got up. I wrote another page. I sent another email. I tried again, and again, and again. Eventually, life started to meet me halfway. If you're going through a tough time right now, I want you to remember this. You are allowed to feel tired. You are allowed to rest, but don't give up. Because the version of you that gets back up, that version is unstoppable. Be your own safe place, dear young boys and girls. The world is full of opinions, expectations, comparisons. It will try to shape you, define you, break you, change you. But your job is to protect your inner world. To be a safe place for yourself. To be kind to the one person you'll be with forever. You, and when you are kind to yourself, you gain the strength to be brave with the world. You start showing up. You start speaking out. You start walking toward the future you truly want, not the one someone else chose for you. So here's my final advice. Be kind to your past self, your present journey, and your future dreams. Be brave to say yes to growth, and no to anything that dims your light. Be you, 'cause there's only one. And the world needs exactly that. Your future is not just something waiting for you. It is something you are creating right now, through every choice, every thought, and every step. And I believe in you. I believe in your fire. I believe in your softness. I believe in your power. Now go and build a future worth remembering. Dear young boys and girls, the future is a mystery, but also a gift. And you have the power to shape it with your choices, your values, and your actions. Don't live someone else's dream. Don't wait for perfect timing. Don't give up when things get hard. Instead, be curious, be consistent, be courageous. And remember this, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going.